Our 91st regular session is now called to order.
Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to meet together. Please help us to come together to make this institution reflect your kingdom. Breathe life into our ideas and decisions. Help us build a team that has love and respect at its heart. Give us the strength to continue working for your kingdom in this time of pandemic. Lord, come give us the inspiration to be the best we can be. May we be a shining example of your goodness and truth within, wherever we are. Inspire our thoughts, discussions, and ideas, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Federated President, Honorable Anacta, kindly lead the creed.
Raise your right hand. The councilors read. I'm a Philippine councilor.
I'm a Philippine councilor.
Mandated by law to enact measures and ordinances.
Mandated by law to enact measures and ordinances.
That redound to the general welfare of my constituents.
That redound to the general welfare of my constituents.
In their pursuit for happiness, peace, and prosperity.
In their pursuit for happiness, peace, and prosperity.
I believe in public service above self.
I believe in public service above self.
As the guiding principle of my official acts.
As the guiding principle of my official acts.
And as I tread the pathways of local legislation.
And as I tread the pathways of local legislation.
May the Almighty guide my mind and heart.
May the Almighty guide my mind and heart.
That I shall be true to my constituents and the Filipino people.
That I shall be true to my constituents and the Filipino people.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Anacta. Next item, Mr. Secretary, please.
Roll call. I will now call the roll. Honorable Emman Tiu Sonco.
Present.
Honorable Maria Rosindi Daza.
Present.
Honorable Dr. Katrina Sadac.
Present.
Honorable Lyra Limbauan.
Present.
Honorable Atty. Kathlyn Cainday.
Present.
Honorable Engineer Melcho Arago.
Present.
Honorable GLAIZA.
Present.
Honorable Renato Sibagakay.
Present.
Honorable Atty. Byron Suyot.
Present.
Honorable Kurt Present. Honorable Escoto. Honorable Lyra Senior. Honorable Anacta.
Present.
Mr. Presiding Officer, 11 esteemed members are present. This constitutes a quorum. You may proceed with your session.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. And as attested by our secretary that there are 11 members present, the chair hereby declares that we have a quorum. Next item, please, Mr. Secretary.
We now move on to the approval of the order of business.
The Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the approval of our order of business.
Madam Chair,
Second
before we approve the order of business, I would like to include my proposed ordinance for first
Reading. Continue, Honorable Suyot.
for first reading. This proposed ordinance is in view of the pandemic and the current dire economic situation of our constituent. This is to grant and to accelerate tax collection and improve tax collection and income for on the part of this city. I propose this tax ordinance, which is to grant granting relief or amnesty to delinquent real property owners from the pay of surcharges and penalties.
Okay, so,
I so move, Madam Chair, Mr. Presiding Officer.
any second?
Second
motion.
Any objections? None. So motion is approved. Please take note, Mr. Secretary. Any
Noted.
more amendments? Okay na. Sige. So, Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the approval of our order of business as amended.
Any
Seconded.
second? Any objections? None. So our order of business for today is hereby approved as amended. So next item, Mr. Secretary.
Hearing on consideration the minutes of the regular session held last June 23, 2025.
Okay, so the minutes was emailed to you by our secretary. So any corrections, comments, suggestions? All right. So Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the approval of the minutes of the regular session held last June 23, 2021.
Second. Any objection? None. So the minutes from the session last June 20.
Honorable Presiding Officer,
Yes, go ahead, Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, since we have resource speakers who will join us during this session, I move for the suspension of our internal rules of procedure so that we can allow them to speak before this body.
Seconded.
Second. Any objections? None. So our internal rules hereby temporarily suspended. Anyway, may agahat katanan aton representative from the Collab Dev. So maupay nga agahat katanan and thank you for giving us time. Mga Tagalog po ba o waray? Yung sino po pwede representative sa atin?
Anong office ba yan? Anong agency?
Sino po pwedeng makausap? Medyo madami tayo.
Good morning, Your Honors. Sa team po ng Collab Dev, meron pong Tagalog.
Alam po.
Okay.
So, reminder, please speak Tagalog na lang po para lahat tayo magkakaintindihan. Sige po. So, Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to direct my questions to our representatives from Collab Dev. Pwede po bang i-narrate niyo po sa amin tungkol saan po yung services na ino-offer niyo for Borongan City? And about your organization also, so that we can give a authority to our city mayor to enter into contract with you.
Yes po. I'm Janine Joy. I'm the chief authority of the Collab Dev project, or partnership project, United States Agency for International Development. The Collab Dev project, but you will please po, later we can show you a video. It's just a short video that explains the substance of the project. But paunahan ko na, the reason we are partnering with Borongan is because we're working on Region 8. And Borongan qualifies in all of the criteria that that we looked at, like a progressive local government unit, the presence of a higher education institution, which is the SU, and the presence of a vibrant CSO community. Of course, the interest also to be involved in data-driven development, which Collab Dev is all about, is one of the main things that encourage us to invite Borongan to be part of Collab Dev. Collab Dev involves 10 sites. We can show the AVP so that you will see these different sites.
Sige po,
Maybe
sige po.
po.
Sige.
Okay, sige. Nadine, will you be
Yes,
able to
Papa.
share the AVP now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In-share na lang po.
The lack of quality data and strong partnerships leads to weak policies and programs. As shown during the pandemic, communities without proper evidence and strong coalitions are struggling to adapt and are left behind. How can we harness the power of data and coalitions to drive development? Introducing Collab Dev, coaliting organizations towards locally led actions to boost development. A partnership between Action for Economic Reforms and the United States Agency for International Development, Collab Dev promotes human-centered, data-driven development in the Philippines. We believe that by strengthening local coalitions and enhancing data capacities, local actors will have increased power to improve their own communities. This is done by first collecting data that is timely, disaggregated, holistic, and involves local actors to identify priorities. Second, ensuring data is accessible to all stakeholders, LGUs, academia, CSOs, and the public. Third, analyzing data to become valuable information, evidence, and knowledge. Fourth, using the evidence produced as the basis for creating policies and programs. Finally, through regular feedback, this process will lead to improved prioritization, mobilization, and allocation of local resources for human development. Enabling this process are the use of state-of-the-art technology and formation of strong partnerships. At Collab Dev, our efforts are broadly grouped into three components. Development Data Lab is in charge of the Data to Evidence initiative. Policy Development Lab leads the Evidence to Policy and Policy to Development initiatives. And Data and Tech Alliance for Development will create local coalitions and coordinate with other collaborators for stronger partnerships. Collab Dev will run from January 2021 to June 2023 in 10 areas: Lungsod, Irosin, and Pilar in Sorsogon, Inupacan, Tanawan, and Tolosa in Leyte, Borongan City and Salcedo in Eastern Samar, Cagayan de Oro City in Misamis Oriental, and Palimbang in Sultan Kudarat.
At its core, Collab Dev is about harnessing the power of data and technology to deliver evidence-based solutions.
In order to achieve this goal, building and sustaining strong coalitions is central to everything we do.
We work hand in hand with partners from the local government, the academy, and the civil society organizations.
Together, we seek to instill a culture of data appreciation among partners and the wider public.
Let's work together
for a human-centered,
data-driven, and participatory development.
Collaborate with Collab Dev.
Okay. Madam. There we go. Okay, so that was a nice presentation. So thank you. Anyway, mas at least meron na po kaming idea ngayon kung ano yung collab dev kasi last week wala po talaga kami idea. Anyway, this is very beneficial po pala sa LGU namin. Nakita ko kanina lalo na sa policy making. So usually kami talaga magbe-benefit dito yung Sangguniang. Anyway, Honorable Madam Floor Leader, sige, go ahead for raising your hand.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I have a question again directed to our collab dev representatives. How, aside from what you said po, ma'am, na parang we pass with you, what kind of information are you collecting from us? What kind of output are we expecting from you? Is there any, aside from sharing our data with you, are there any other responsibilities, financial or other kinds of responsibilities that you are expecting from the city?
Yes, thank you very much. As per the MOA, and also which was a product of work with the partners in the local government, SU and the CSO partners in Borongan in the past 3 months. The focus for Borongan City would be on agriculture, local agriculture and capture fisheries, so which will include not just the actual agriculture and fisheries, but also the people therein. What we will be, the data that we will be not collected, but the data that we will access for would depend on what Borongan City, the LGU would like to put in the project. So if because this is what Borongan said would be the priority as a starting point, which can be expanded. We were very clear about this. We have to focus on something that's realistic and achievable, because it's not dealing with data is not easy. So we want to also have a proof of concept to demonstrate to everybody that it can be done. And once it's done, we can expand it to include other sectors and other data. So for the moment, it is data on local agriculture and fisheries, depending on how broad of that, how broad the coverage in that sector the LG would want. Because what we will be able to develop, whether it's a dashboard or the analytics, will depend on the data that you will give access to. Aside from the MOA, by the way, there is the MOA already has the data sharing arrangement, but there is a supplemental data sharing agreement which pertains to the protection of data privacy. So we take all of this in very seriously, and we have lawyers who are working with us. We also have a data privacy officer that advises us, because it's a requirement, because we're dealing with data. So it is elaborated in the DSA what the data privacy will cover, and what will be done, what are the responsibilities of both parties in the protection of data privacy. In terms of the responsibilities of the parties, I would like to direct your attention, please, to Section 4 of the MOA, and 4.1 enumerates the responsibilities of AER, and 4.2 enumerates the responsibility of the LGU. For AER, it is the responsibility to provide technical support assistance to in the policy, the data, partnership, and the capacity building component of the project. We are also committed to assist the LGU in the formulation of policies relevant to projects and programs and partnerships relevant to the identified priorities. We are the ones who will do data privacy and data security audit for the relevant components of the partnership, and we will make available the capacity building syllabus, modules, and related materials that will be developed in line with this partnership. We will also facilitate linkages with tech, data, policy, and advocacy partners to broaden the resource base and the support base for the Borongan component in this project, because we will not be able to do everything. So we're partnering with DAP, Sparta, OpenStreetMaps, Globe Connect, and others, so that they can help in the project as well. We will be the ones, for those that are within our responsibility, we will be responsible for the human resources, personnel, and consultants, and we will cover their costs. So the technical support partnership, of course, is free of charge. You don't have to pay us or anything. There is we are also responsible to account for and acknowledge whatever contribution Borongan puts up, because of course you will have your counterpart personnel, your space, your equipment that will be used in this project, because that's something that we will be very proud to showcase also, that it is a real partnership, because the LGU as a sign of commitment is actually assigning people to develop this. There is it's prescribed in the project for us, the implementing partner, to spend anything on any public entity. So meaning the LGU, for instance, or even the SUC, meaning we can't transfer money or anything, not that the project will be able to, because it's a different partnership. If you're familiar with how USAID works, or projects of this kind works, iba po yung partnership with government, iba yung partnership with non-government, right? Private or non-government. So the cooperative agreement with us is with us, and we can't spend for public entities. But in the project, we will assign, this is an assignment, not a donation or a transfer, a simple set of equipment. It's very simple, because that's the limit of the project. Also, we understand that Borongan has its own initiatives anyway, but we will assign a simple set of equipment, so that immediately it is already possible for our partners from Borongan to access the data lab, the ONLAD dashboard, and the PRIDE platform, which is the capacity building platform. So that while waiting, or even without waiting for the counterpart of LGU in the project, you can already access. Will have to be stored somewhere, and at least the focal person will have to have access, or the mayor could say, ano na ba yung nangyayari, kailangan malaman. Hindi natin pwedeng excuse na, ay wala pa pong computer na pwedeng makitaan. So the project is assigning for use just of the project, and there are limitations here. It's for the project. There can be no legal or material or financial interest that can be attached to the equipment that will be assigned, and it's really very simple. It's just a laptop with sufficient power, with sufficient storage. We will also that storage will also be cloud, and probably some peripherals that are needed for the immediate use and immediate access for those who will be for the project. So that's on the part of the AER. For the LGU, the undertaking that we were hoping is, of course, subject to the data sharing arrangement and the supplemental data sharing agreement. You will provide us access to the data and documents relevant to the priorities identified in the partnership. If you want us to do data analytics and develop the dashboard, we have to have access to the data. Of course, we're also on our own are are seeking other ways of access. For instance, we're already entering or we're negotiating already a data sharing agreement with the DSWD for Listahanan 3, which is still upcoming. It's coming in November yet, so that we can have access. And we understand that not all LGUs have automatic access even to the Listahanan. And it is our commitment to help our LGU partners to secure all these DSAs and with the DSWD for Listahanan, and for whatever data sets we can get understanding or partnerships with, because we believe that even given all the protection that need to be instituted in the handling of data, local governments should also have access to the data, to their data, data that they help collect, for instance, and that are about them, so that they are able to use this for their own development. So that, and the other thing is, of course, not just the access to data, but when the data is processed, that we hope that you will use them, integrate and utilize them for your policy making, for your planning and programming. We also would participate in other project activities, because there are capacity building. So whoever are assigned to handle data, whoever are responsible for specific policies and programs related to the priority areas identified in the partnership, will have to undergo also the capacity building and all that are necessary to understand kung dashboard po yan, kasi eventually this will be all turned over to you. So the LGU should know what's going on, how it's being done, and eventually how to run it yourselves. We also hope that you will provide the necessary counterpart, of course, with all the necessary approvals that may be needed. One is the appointment of a focal person or focal persons who will manage the LGU participation in the project, create a project management unit or a technical working group, or integrate this in this partnership in an existing special body. So basically, it's just a show of commitment that the project is actually going to be a live initiative within the LGU, because it's something that's already integrated. So whether it's integrated in your statistics office, your information office, or your management information system, or your planning system, that is a commitment that we want from the LGU. In this case, maybe in the agri, so that what's being done in the project is actually, we already get feedback or an indication that it's actually useful for the LGU. We also hope that the LGU can make available free of charge and subject to minimal requirements the use of certain LGU facilities, such as meeting venues, offices, and spaces, for the use of those you will yourselves assign for the project. Right? And of course, those you assigned will be, we're hoping that these are designation or from existing staff, or however, but these are counterpart that we're hoping that the LGU can put up. And we will be asking the LGU, of course, to account for that, or to tell us that, okay, this is our participation is like this, like we have 5 persons working on this, working 20% of the time, and that means this much. We provided space, or you can say that because of the project, we invested in new technology, new programs, etc. So these are things that we also want to recognize in the project. There are 3 more. The other is we hope that the LGU can work with the local coalition, because data work is as we said, a holistic process, and we need help from many sectors. We have the Eastern Samar State University is the identified local resource organization, and we hope that the LG will be able to work with the Eastern Samar State University because there are data partners as well, and the CSOs who were part of the process when we were developing the project for Borongan. The other thing is we hope that Borongan will be able to collaborate and share your experiences with the 9 other project pilot sites. So with Cagayan de Oro, with Palimbang, with the Sorsogon sites, with Tolosa, Tanawan, and Inupacan, because you are the pilot sites, so to speak, and we want the different sites, because the different sites have different priorities. We hope that you will be able to exchange experiences and learnings, and we want the 10 sites to be the ambassadors, so to speak, of data-driven development in the country. So and finally, because we want security for this partnership, as you know, an election is coming up, but the project will cross over to the next dispensation. So we hope that this partnership will be formalized by an executive order or a Sangguniang resolution, so that it can survive transition. Of course, we're not worried about transition. We're all used to political transitions, but just so there is commitment that this will continue even after the election. That's part of the responsibilities that we hope Borongan City will take on. So that's basically it.
Okay, so thank you, Ma'am Chavez. Madam Flor, continue. Are you done?
I would just like to thank Ma'am Janina for that very exhaustive discussion of the responsibilities of both parties, and I think that this will be beneficial. And of course, I had another question, but you were already able to answer my questions through your discussion. So, but I think, Ma'am, regarding the probable issue of transition, political transition, I think the better document to get from us is an ordinance, because the EU and the resolution will just be effective for the time being that there is for only the time now na yung mga politicians pa as of this administration is still in place. I have no more questions, Honorable Presiding Officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Cainday. Our PCL President, Honorable Suyot.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. I would like to thank likewise our partner, CollabDev, through Madam Jeannie Joy Chavez, for choosing Borongan as their partner in this endeavor. However, the explanation was something technical to me, and this conversation will resume later to the public. I would like this to be out into a simplistic and which can easily be understood by the public. Ma'am, again, as I said earlier, we are thankful that you have chosen Borongan as a partner in this project. Ma'am, may I know, because in Collab is different from USAID. What is the role of USAID in this partnership?
Yes. The CollabDev is a cooperative agreement between Action for Economic Reforms and the USAID. So USAID is basically a partner, a funder. Although it's not the only thing it does. We co-develop the project. They also advise us on the monitoring and evaluation, and of course the overall management of the project. So as we go along, you will see more of CollabDev of USAID po. But since this is not an official assistance to government as such, so iba talaga yung the relationship will be through the project and us, because iba yung pag-government yung trabaho or ka-agreement nila. In this case, it's us po. So USAID is basically the fund, the project, and this project is part of the small grants, just to put everything in context. And it's really more technical assistance rather than some other types of project. And maybe I'm not sure. I'm sure Borongan will have had a lot of USAID projects in the past, and baka may mga infra related projects on it. This is not something like that. A public education component to this. So eventually we hope to, with the help of the local coalition, to be able to publish this, because one of the basic objectives of the project is to make everybody appreciate data, importance of data, na hindi ito dapat katakutan, hindi ito dapat pagsuspetsahan. If you know where data is coming from, and if you know how data is the data, and to act or even to question data kung tingin nyo pangit ang process dito. But to base our actions, to base our policies and programs, and this is what we hope not only the LGUC partners but the JT through this project.
Thank you, Vice. Can I continue?
Continue.
Thank you po, Madam. This program is project and collaboration is actually timely, because you will notice Borongan is an agriculture-based economy. So the areas is something that need boosting. Kasi yung sa amin po dito, hindi pa gaanong ka-focus yung sa agriculture, but the executive highlighted this program in his as a political platform. Kasi yung natin ng mayor namin dito is Dukwag Agricultura. That is the promotion of agriculture. And kaya timely nga yung identification ng areas of collaboration na doon sa agri-fishery. Yung lang po namin, ma'am, kasi this is data-based, and since last year, Borongan has been the basis for future projects or programs of the city, para hindi na yung parang systematic na yung sa amin. Yung tanong lang po namin, ma'am, yung how much ba yung kayang mayroon bang limit yung funding assistance ng USAID through your agency?
Yes po. The funding assistance has already been determined even before we came into the picture. And as I said, this is part of the program, and which is part of their small grants initiative. Yan po. So ang limit po nun is kung ano yung approved before, and other limit is that public entities cannot be a cost center. Because it's a different type of partnership. It's not like the government to government, the bilateral partnership, which like different agencies or local government units may enter with development partners like USAID.
Madami pa sana ako tatanong, kaso lang marami kami dito. At saka para yung iba mabigyan din ng panahon para makapagtanong. Thank you po, Madam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Suyot. So any more questions from the other members? Clarifications? Alright na. So clear na siguro ang explanation ni Ma'am Chavez. Reyna? Okay, so Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, would like to thank our representatives from Collab Dev. If you have more information that you'd like to share po, feel free to share it now before we go to our next agenda.
Okay, I think we have here for Collab Dev, we are Mr. Eric Aseo is our programs associate for the Visayas. And ELAC, through Dr. Buboy Dargantes, is our local coordinator for Region 8. And they're here, and I believe because of the constraints now in travel, it's only Eric and Doc Buboy and the team from Eastern Visayas who are able to visit Borongan. But we commit po, nangangako kami na pakita kami sa inyo once we just want to make sure that team members who are going there are fully vaccinated and fully protected, because alam naman po natin na kung sakaling merong infection, it's most likely coming from like Manila, because this is where most of the infections are. So we don't want to be bringing illness or sickness to the areas, but we are committed that we will be visiting all the sites, not just once. And as we said, ako po personally and my organization, Action for Economic Reforms, have been working in Region 8 since, Doc Buboy, would you remember? I think 2014.
2014.
Post Yolanda. And in fact, one of the personal and institutional reasons why Borongan, because we want to stay in Region 8 for as long as we can, because post Yolanda work, as you know, hindi naman siya talaga makakatulong ng kaagad-agad. It has to be sustained technical support over a long period before certain things will take place. We've seen the potential of Region 8 during, despite the devastation of Yolanda and despite the smallness of the economy of Region 8 compared to the rest of the country. After Yolanda, it has shown a lot of resilience. So there was so much potential here that needs to be maximized. We've also seen that Region 8 was the only region that grew double digit in 2014, 2015. So, and 2016, I think that was 2016. Yeah. So yes, it could have been because there were so much Yolanda funds that came in, right? But so kung may pumasok na, so what kung maraming Yolanda funds? But that also translated into double-digit growth, the only double-digit growth in 2016 in the country. So which means that everything that goes into the region actually gets soaked up and utilized properly, kaya siya nag-show sa economic performance ninyo. So that is very encouraging for us, and we have seen in Region 8 and Borongan that there are local chief executives and of course local government that are committed to data-driven approaches. At yun ho kasi importante, kailangan own with the local community. Because it's not going to be easy at sabing namin tiyagaan, kasi baka akala ng it's like magic that it will be set up immediately. There will be a lot of frustrations along the way because the data, I'm sure you also have encountered data issues na usual po na the vaccination program, you're asked to vaccinate this many people, but pagkita ninyo, the targets are higher than the actual people that can be vaccinated in the area, and those are data issues po. And these are things that by interacting with local governments and local communities, we hopefully this is what we're also hoping for the in the long term. The way data is processed and transmitted from the national to the local will also be improved. So, yun lamang po, Doc Buboy. Eric, maybe you there's something you want to
Hello,
share.
good morning.
I
want to address yung question kanina ni BM Suyot, how do we, the challenge of popularizing data-driven development. I think the easiest way is to point out to the COVID experience natin. It was easier to make decisions, to respond to situation, to come up with policies when you have the data, di ba? So, palaging evidence-based, targeted yung mga policies nyo, yung mga issuances from the executive, even yung mga ginagawa ng City Health Office when you have the data. And it was challenging kung wala talagang data. So, in a way, this is one way of illustrating yung data-driven approach that we're promoting in the project. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just like to share some thoughts about Collab Dev for Borongan, especially that this partnership would eventually involve ESO main campus. So we are now providing a mechanism wherein the LGU can also harness the capacity of academe in helping its evidence-based or data-driven development initiatives. And also, one of the things I would say, the group, as mentioned by Joy, we have worked with Eastern Samar since 2014, and we found out that partnering with the local state university would be a great help to furthering the developmental aspirations of the LGU. And I think this project is a very good opportunity to foster that relationship. Thank you, Vice Mayor and members of the Sangguniang.
Okay, so thank you po. Honorable Suyot, you're raising your hand.
Thank you, Vice. First, I would like to address the statement of Dr. Dargantes. I totally agree with his suggestion that we should collaborate, we should harness the potential of ISO passer or accredited so educational institution, university in Eastern Samar, which is ISO. Tama po yan. At saka second po doon kay ma'am, kanina kay Ma'am Joy Chavez po, doon sa kanina sa yung salong continuity po ng program, I suggest that the duration should be stated in the MOA itself. Para kahit yung, kasi time bound tayo kung lagay lang natin na dito lang yan sa term na to, dapat ilagay natin dyan until the project are completed para wala siyang pwede natin sa duration dyan sa MOA. Sa MOA between the LGU and your NGO. Yun po, that's just my suggestion, madam.
Nakasama na naman, di ba? Sa
5.9.
Okay. Sorry, kasi hindi ko nakita yung MOA. Kaya sinabi ko lang kanina kasi tinanong yung longevity na explain mo kanina yung na baka di mag-continue kasi may mag-overcross yan to the next set of political officers. Pero sa akin lang, madali lang po yan. Aside from the ordinance, we can state that in as one of the provision, the duration of the agreement of the partnership para mas madali.
Yes, that's a good point. Okay. So any more questions, clarifications from the other members before we proceed? Reina? Okay. So ma'am, just curious lang, one question lang. How did you choose Borongan po? Paano yung nakita out of, kasi di ba sobrang dami ng mga LGU sa Philippines. Did the LGU of Borongan nag-apply po sa inyo or paano po?
No naman po, but because we work with ESU and ESU has a Borongan, the main campus is in Borongan. And Mr. Eric Aseo actually was probably the biggest champion for Borongan in the project. So yeah, Eric, you have to explain why Borongan. But we're very happy with the choice of Borongan po.
Yes.
Actually, I was telling Kulab Dev na magandang katrabahoan ng Borongan because we have very young legislators who are development oriented and easily to talk to, and a mayor also who is very
yes,
open
that's
to new ideas.
yes, that's an and also I think one of the other I come from the university now, and one of some members of our network actually in the university, because AER also formed this Eastern Visayas Sustainable Energy and Industrial Policy Network of State Universities and Colleges. So our partners in the university, particularly Dr. Jun Agda, when he learned about this project, he called me, why is Borongan not included? So, now, so these are, it's an, how do you call that? Convergence of events. So you have a very dynamic local government unit, and also you have your constituents are also in the university who are very interested in this thing. So I think you are well poised to really move forward in this. Thank you.
Thank you po. Actually kami sa LGU po, we are very enthusiastic po sa mga gantong mga projects kasi unang-una kami magbe-benefit nito eh. Malaking benefit po sa amin lalo na sa Sangguniang kasi sabi niyo nga kanina mga policy making. So kami pag well informed kung ano talaga nangyayari sa lokal na barangay, at least alam po namin. So mas effective po yung mga gawang mga policy. So very enthusiastic po kami sa mga gantong project. So thank you very much po for choosing Borongan actually. So may question pa ba? Madam Floor Leader, para na?
No more question, Honorable Presiding Officer. But same as you, I am in full support of this initiative. I know coming from Collab Dev, and surely I'm sure after this and after our conversation, we will pass and approve this resolution granting the authority to our city mayor to enter into this agreement with you. Thank you so much for your time, po.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much po, and all. Yeah.
We have slated the MOA signing July 6 ba or Tuesday. So we're also inviting the Vice Mayor and maybe members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod to attend the ceremonial MOA signing online.
Yes, it's just a very short activity po. 20
very short.
minutes. Yeah. The tech check is longer than the actual activity.
Hingi na lang kami ng link.
Yes, we will do that, Mayor, Vice.
Sige po, thank you very much. So again, on behalf po of LGU Borongan and the Sangguniang Panlungsod, maraming salamat po sa inyong time and for choosing Borongan as as a partner sa ating pong development. So thank you very much. Rest assured po na we will do our part and making this project successful po. So maraming salamat. So I will excuse you na po. Or
Vice Mayor, I'm not sure kung napakilala ni Joy kanina, yung actually constituent ninyo, si Hannah Hipe. She's also working in the project for Borongan.
That's good. May Borongano na. Very good.
I think just 100 meters from City Hall. Malapit lang. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we now take our leave so that you can discuss internally, Vice.
Sige po. Thank you po. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, I don't know if my staff or us informed yung we are recorded po and we will be playing this in the local TV tapos online kung okay lang po sa inyo. I forgot to ask kanina, sorry. No problem naman po.
No problem with me.
No problem po.
Sige po.
No problem.
Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, and so bye until we see each other in Borongan.
Hopefully makapasyal na po kayo.
Okay, sige.
Thank you po. We're taking our leave now. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, next item po, please.
We now move on to COVID update, care of Dr. John Kelly Cainday.
We have here that from our IATF, Dr. John Kelly Cainday.
Good morning,
Any update
everyone.
us kung ano na hinanabo din niya ato na pagtaga-COVID, kung ma-extend pa makita or ano?
Opo, sige, if I may start, I would like to share my screen for the COVID-19 status update of Borongan City po. So these slides po that I will show to you are is updated up to yesterday po. Updated up to yesterday's cases po. So this table shows po the totality of our COVID-19 cases since the start of our first case last June 2020. So as you can see, we plateaued sometime January to February up to April, almost a plateau pero gradually increasing pa din po. However, hindi po nakikita ang aking pointer. If you will look at the red line at the bottom, that is the total daily cases. So for Borongan, our first wave was started on August 14th onwards. Then our second wave was on December. Our third wave was January until the first week of February, and our latest wave now is this June. We anticipated this rise in cases last May pa lang po when we saw clustering in different areas in Borongan. So we doubled our efforts in surveillance to be able to contain our cases. So as of yesterday, we have a total of 437 confirmed cases. This is we call confirmed cases. We call them confirmed cases because that is the only number of cases recognized by the Department of Health National. Those cases tested positive for polymerase chain reaction, or what we know as PCR. Today, we added 6 cases. 5 of them are from the City Health Office cases, and 1 is at the Eastern Samar Provincial Hospital, who just recently died this 5 a.m. So, of those 5 cases totaled from the city of Borongan, that was 5 cases out of 7 samples run, and those 7 samples run are a total of 48 samples sent yesterday at the Eastern Visayas Regional COVID-19 Testing Center, or the EBRCTC. So, it's not working. Next slide. So here's the demographics of our cases. So you can see to the left are females, to the right are males, and mostly the cases, confirmed cases, the age group po is from 20 years old to 34 years old, while higher cases naman din po are from 45 to 54 years old. So almost 50-50 naman po ang ating distribution of cases among males and females. However, as to the comorbidities, those who have hypertension, diabetes, or other illnesses, we only have 17%, while 83% don't have any comorbidity as far as we know. And more concerning po is the cases po who are asymptomatic and symptomatic for our LGU. In the past months po, up to last year, our cases po, we had up to 80% po those without symptoms, while now ang ating po symptomatics are already more than asymptomatics. So we have more positive cases with symptoms, that is at 54%, This may be attributed to the hindi ko po masabing fact, but it is very evident that our strain of the coronavirus now is a mutant or a variant of concern. We are still in talks with the Genome Testing Center for testing for Eastern Samar if we have our own mutation or if the variants, the international variants are already in our jurisdiction. So we are looking now at the comparison of cases per month for the totality since we started last year in June. We have a total of 437 to date to yesterday. However, the more concerning here is the month of June as we have total 218. So masyado pong madami to. Almost 50% of our total number of cases were all clocked this just last month, June. For May, it was only 29, then suddenly on June, 218. So we can see the virulence of this virus po, very contagious. So here you see the, we tag these patients as probable by following the COVID-19 case definition. So we have COVID suspect, COVID probable, and COVID confirmed. May I remind everyone again that when we say suspect, probable, or confirmed, that is not the literal meaning of the words. So ini-equate lang po ang probable for antigen positives and for confirmed for PCR positives because admittedly and factually, polymerase chain reaction still has the higher sensitivity and specificity among other tests. Anyway po, for our antigen positive cases, this is a weekly tally of the number of cases tested per barangay. This may be walk-in, surveilled, or randomly tested. So if you can see po, parami ng paramihan or it is a plateau per week, but still we have a total of 237 up to the last week of June, including yung first week of July. As to the PCR positives, we have 226. A better data will be shown on the next slide po, which I will proceed to now. So this one po, to the left are cases on June and to the right are cases for May. So that is per barangay po na case. Those colored blue were tested for antigen with antigen. Red is tested with antigen and later on confirmed with PCR. And color green are those who were tested with PCR only. If you will ask why magkakaiba po, why there are some antigen only and why some have been tested with PCR and why some were tested solely with PCR. So for antigen po, these are the people who either died na hindi na na-test for PCR or those who have tested negative for PCR. If you have tested for antigen and you tested positive, that doesn't mean that you are not yet sure that you are a COVID-19 carrier or you have not been infected yet. What is more worrisome when you are tested with antigen is that when you test for antigen and you test positive, it means that you are highly likely to be very contagious during that time because testing for antigen is testing for the whole viral protein or at least the spike protein. Well, when you test for PCR, you only test for the RNA. It could be the whole virus is still there, but you are not sure if that's still a whole virus or those are only remnants. So for those tested solely with PCR, those are either walk-ins or immediately tested with PCR due to signs and symptoms. Or they have tested negative with antigen but later on tested positive for PCR. Cases like this who don't test positive for antigen but later tests positive for PCR could either be recovering from the illness or just starting from the illness. However, one thing that we found was when we started suspecting that we have a mutation is that not all of our patients tests positive for antigen despite them being symptomatic. This could be that in this mutation we cannot detect the virus with antigen, but they will be detected with PCR. Mind you, everyone, for your information only, not all PCR tests are equal. There are several factors being tested with PCR. Last I checked, DWU tests for 6 to 18 viral RNA structures, while EBR-CTC only tests 4. So despite them having high sensitivity and specificity, we cannot equate pa din po ang different testing centers as they test different markers in the viral RNA. Anyway po, that is already very technical. What I want to explain here is that massive surge of cases per barangay. And as of now, not all persons are declaring their illnesses for fear of stigma and fear of inconvenience. What is worrisome is the case of Barangay Sonco, because masyado pong very steep po ang rise of Barangay Sonco for June. Comparing this to May, Sonco only had 5 antigen positives. Then came June, we already totaled ilan ba to? This is 30 plus for Sonco. Only followed by Alang-Alang and the usual suspects na mga barangays, usual na matataas po, Balod, Bato. What is more worrisome is difficult to reach barangays po talaga are almost impossible na po for the city health office to be tested and to be surveilled kasi po we can only do so much considering that our our personnel po is very thinned out na po because sabay-sabay po with our vaccinations. One thing that we saw, this not too far to reach barangays like Barangay Bayobay and Barangay Cagbonga, constantly po we are receiving Opo. So overview na lang po, you can see naman po the massive rise in our cases. If this trend continues, I am foreseeing 400 cases a minimum per week in Borongan coming August. So we should do everything to contain this po. As of now po, we cannot do anything na po to stop the spread. We can only do what we can only do is to contain kung ano lang po ang nare-report sa amin. This slide naman po shows the growth daily kung saan po lumalabas ang cases covering the months of May and June. So this is just a few seconds. So everyone can see naman this po, no? So therefore, gradual rise and Sonco po talaga until the end of the month of June. So deaths, we only totaled 12 as officially declared po because some deaths po here were no longer tested kasi they have already, yun nga po, dead na po and useless na po ang pag-test sa kanila. And some deaths naman po still COVID related because they are part of a cluster or contact of a cluster or contact of several positives, either PCR or antigens. So for the entirety of June, we have tallied 16 COVID-19 deaths. And as of this morning, our first COVID-19 death for Borongan. So for our RT-PCR deaths, you will see po that most of our deaths po are seniors. Yes po. So seniors po sila. And of these deaths, only one has been vaccinated. Fully vaccinated pa siya. That was Father John Alcantara. But we cannot associate his death for COVID-19 alone as Father John is a hemodialysis patient with other comorbidities. In fact, the cause of cardiorespiratory failure dialysis po, he was already complaining of chest pains. Regardless po that is already moot, we pray for the bereaved members of the family of Father John. So for the status of our isolation facilities, to the left are cases. These are COVID-19 cases, and to the right are our travelers affected by our MECQ. So our new Borongan isolation facility, the first facility that was air-conditioned, is fully occupied with only 28 patients out of 28 beds. It is only 32 there on the numbers, on the figures, because some patients require watchers. They cannot ambulate by themselves alone. As to the newer facility, you kaka-open na po last 24, we only have 2 positives there. Our converted CGSO facility, converted to a COVID-19 facility, has no occupant as of now. Hilas 1 has 8/22. Our JTR facility has 8/50. Mountain View is occupied by 14 ESPH personnel. They are not under the jurisdiction of the city, as Mountain View is not exclusive to the city government. So if you will look at this, a few weeks ago, or if not a few days ago, we have been declaring that our facilities are already full. Yes, that was true back then. Now, we already changed strategies in isolating COVID-19 cases. As sobrang dami po ng cases, we cannot isolate them all. Our strategy now is to isolate only those who need medical care, medical attention, immediate medical attention, and those who are capable to be isolated in our facility, who are under wait list to be admitted at the Eastern Samar Provincial Hospital, the only COVID-19 referral center in Eastern Samar. As to the travelers naman po, we have 8 in Maipangdan, 15 in Santa Fe, and 17 in San Jose. These are travelers, or previously known LSIs, who came to Borongan during the MECQ without the proper documentary requirements. We also have 4 now in Barangay Campisao who are not cooperating with our rules. This is now being addressed by the executive kasi po travelers are no longer under my jurisdiction, and I just took the liberty to look on this situation, as they may be spreading the virus, as they don't have any PCR tests with them, nor they only have antigen tests, which is not reliable for travelers, because pwede din po, even PCR actually, they may still contract the virus while they travel. The only way na nasabi ko po was to give show cause na lang, because our efforts are null na po with this. So if you don't have any other questions, that ends my... before I end din po, I am going to share another screen po on our status. This office has been computing its own risk category, kasi po hindi na po reliable ang risk category na binibigay ng Provincial Health Office, because we are not able to what's this? We're not able to test po kasi daily, as there is a limit in the EVR CTC po on how many slots are allocated per LGU. Can you see this this table po with numbers and highlights, red, green, and yellow? Can everyone see this table po?
Yes, Doc. Nakikita po.
Hello? Okay, sige po. So we started computing for our own use, kasi if you can see po, all towns in Eastern Samar, inaabangan po namin yan since I think we started last March. Anyway po, we are concerned lang po for Borongan. So starting May, this is for PCR. When we started computing, nagmo-moderate po tayo. But came June, we started moderate na lang po lagi to high. As of today, we haven't entered yet the data, pero never na po tayo babalik to being moderate or low. We will always be a high risk area po. For our antigens naman po, Borongan, starting May, we started May as moderate, if you can see here. Then naging low, then we stopped sometime na mag-test, then low again, then moderate, sunod po nung May. And then came June, we started to be risk category high na naman po. As of now, because this is only antigen, and we stopped testing na po with antigen, we reverted back to moderate. This computation is based on our PWGR, or the 2-week growth rate, and the average daily attack rate. So until dito lang po tayo sa yellow highlight, never mind po yung sa future, kasi po this is computed on a 2-week basis. One more thing that I want to show po is, for a while lang po, I just have to open. In collaboration po with the CDRRMO, we started na po to map. We started to map. Asan na yun? We started to map na po where our cases are. So here it is po. I will share a new screen.
So any questions? Honorable Katrina Anacta. Sige, you have the floor.
Good morning, Doc Kelly. Thank you for that very informative presentation. It akan question, how do we sanction those people who violate our quarantine protocol? Kasi yan na, di ba? Nag-home quarantine na lang kita for close contacts.
Yes.
And bisan nga nito natin mga positive, if they are asymptomatic, again, home quarantine na rin yan na natin. So how do we sanction those people nga nag-violate ito natin quarantine protocol? Kay madamo talaga itong diri na bali.
Yes, with that po, when we receive reports po of violation of quarantine or isolation, we immediately call the attention of the barangay and then have them report a narrative to the city legal office. As of now, I am not very sure how many na po ang narrative na nasubmit na per barangay. But one thing for sure is barangay Tabok Alang-Alang already has a narrative. I think it's barangay Tabok cluster po na nagkikinagawas. It's already been reported po to the city legal office. And likewise, me po, my office has reported a narrative po regarding a positive case who has affected several people, including this office, as third-generation contacts. Positive patient po inihiya, and he has been a constant problem since last year. Meron na po, adi na po sa city legal office. That is the only thing that we can do, considering po that we are already overwhelmed in this office with our cases. So other matters po, we leave it up to the officers concerned na lang po.
Asya titakan sana may kung habagang masampulan para mabumali itong mga tao kay na talaga, di ba, outbreak na talaga kita.
Yes,
Diri na hadlok. I don't know kung diri hira maaram nga damo na ito namamatay na COVID positive din ni haatan. Pero sana ito na magmay ala disiplina ngan pagburoblig kita. Nasugad nga ni, di ba, itong hashtag we heal as one.
Yes po. Thank you po.
You're done, Honorable Anacta. Sige. So next, we have Honorable Kurt. You're raising your hand. Sige, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer. Doc Kelly, is there any chance na ma-disseminate natin na data or information na public para may nira na kuan naman at least pulbaon na hira at pumayon haat na natikadamo na palagay din yung mga COVID cases?
Yes po. Actually, my office is already in talks with that. Among ourselves pa lang po kasi we should be consistent din po kasi if we start giving out this data, we should be able to give out data regularly. Our last agreement, I think we agreed with a weekly report or bi-monthly report, and it will be care of the Borongan City Information Office, but we haven't yet submitted our proposal for this kasi we cannot promise po to be able to generate this data regularly kasi po yun nga po overwhelmed po kami here in our office.
Maybe you need more maybe you need more manpower imo office sumatila kami para makapag-update mo regularly kung ano't makabuligit office Sangguniang.
Yeah, very much po. We really need more manpower.
Okay. Sige. That will be all, Honorable President.
Vice.
Thank you.
Vice.
Okay. Continue. Honorable Suyot and then Honorable Arago.
Thank you very much, Mr. Presiding Officer. Itakon lakon tahin ni si Sir Nitaton. Apela ko hitaton mga constituents nga sumunod hitat aton mga protocol kasi problema kon hira makusugman itira mga sulod balay nga magluya ginaset na apektuhan mo pa hindi rin madara hospital maging grabe financial cost nga kay mabugat dapat iton makonsider sanglit hunahuna atala iton Saglit pagkuhan gud kita paghinay kun diri importante ay kita ito na pag ginuwas-guwas. Ay kita ito na pag-iniro istorya ay tirok-tirok. Alis that is not necessary kun may daman kun necessary man kinahanglan you have to observe what is being mandated by the government to avoid transmission of and spread of this this COVID-19 virus to the community. Asaliti takit makukuhan dida nga mag-kooperar apila nga tanan mag-kooperar gad kamo.
To follow up on that, Atty. Suyot, thank you po. Most of our patients po kasi would say nga di rin mga nagawa si Kalay, di met maglakat, di met siya malakat. However, the other household members who are the culprit for this, I blame them. Kasi it's impossible naman po that a family waray magawas, how do they eat? Di man po hangin ngayon tunay pinangangaon. And then that is our constant problem po here, arguing with patients na we are not blaming anyone, but we are just telling you that despite this senior citizen from your house, di rin na nakakalakat, di rin nagawas, among yourselves, it nagdidinara ito nga virus nga da. Since di rin po may iwasan, because we still report to work, like now, I think China Bank, City Savings Bank, HR of province will be closed because we have cases there.
Wow.
There's nothing much we can do naman po kasi this office never orders closure of any establishment. What we order is only isolation or quarantine as may be applicable. The only problem with these institutions po, they do not do the alternative working arrangement. So whenever one gets infected, all of them are included po kasi air-conditioned naman po. We cannot blame them din naman po. It's fiscal problem din naman po. So like this in my office, you have been quarantined for 4 or 5 times already because wala po kaming magawa. Management of these children po sa office, I should always be here. So ngatanan po kami, nag-share lang kami sa hangin every time. So one infection, everyone talaga sama.
That's mukharaglag. Tapos are you done, Honorable Suyot?
Okay, I'm done. Salamat ito nga information. Anako lang public information para mag-appeal kita hera nga mag-cooperar. Kasi makurin nga problema.
Yes po.
So kailangan mag-public. Honorable
yes,
Arago,
thank you.
For now.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Anacta, Doc, Kuya Kurt, ano daw la itong factors na particularly Sonco nga nag-rise in or-oraan natin COVID cases din ni Barangay Sonco. What are the factors na nasugad ito?
What we saw po was firstly, ang mga taga-Sonco po, they really report themselves. They give themselves up haamon when they feel something. So, di rin po sila nagtatago itong mga taga-Sonco. Next po, Sonco is parang sawang mandaman po hiya. So, many establishments and mostly po sa Sonco, nananarabaho po talaga din hit sawang. So, nagdadamo po talaga. And I was in talks with the Provincial Health Office last night comparing po mga barangays. Sonco po talaga, higher reporting po talaga Sonco because easily surveilled. All corners po and all sides of Sonco is kumbaga civilization na po talaga hiya. We were comparing po kasi with Balod na Balod it is too big tapos not all areas of Balod can be surveilled instantaneously kasi mga look waray mga signal tapos bisan ni ako nagulat po ako when I was doing surveillance last time na may da po ngayon natin mga slums area habalod. So these clusters po of households nga mga mag-isog pa daman, nga magdi-deny na tatapo na lang nga nagkamitin mga sundang. This group of people, this type of people nga diri ma-report. So diri namon talaga hira matitest nor would they submit themselves for testing unlike puhan population puhan Sonco.
So follow up.
Continue po.
So itong EU data, itong EU graphics, does it reflect talaga itong tunay nga katayuan? Kasi with your statement nga diri na ni-report itong iba, nahuhulog plak na Sonco gataas itong EU graph compared to other areas nga mas populated nga ni. In fact, Campisao is more populated than Sonco in terms of population, di ba? Number one, Campisao with Palud. I think Sonco is only third in population. Pero Sonco it gidada ko ito. Ito anak. So pagkakuan report talaga ito, di ba? Sa tagahataan sa Sonco kay reported masyado. Nagawas, masyado realistic baga. That's okay, Ton.
Data only reflects those that are reported and those na naso-survey po talaga namon. Since my personnel po, we are lacking, diri ko pero napapafield talaga for case finding. Our existing healthcare workers naman, they are being siphoned po, focusing on our vaccination. So, waray po talaga kami surveillance nga masisering ko nga effective now. Po in the past few months, our surveillance was really effective. As of now, we have several clusters po, Alang-Alang, Tornino, and all other barangays. Diri po inherent na nababantayan good kasi even sadly, our BHERTs po, they are not that functional. I could say nga 5 to 10% na po itaton BHERTs amo nagagamit. Some of them would even decline in akong orders to assist in tracking po the virus. So it's like this office is working on its own and we can only do so much po. So our data is only limited to what we find and what is reported to us.
So kung ano ito, labas talaga mas monitor itong cases sa Sonco.
Yes.
Compared to other guys. Also, kakulot pa pinamatay ko ang kapamilya channel. Paglarabit usa nga dako nga po paglarabit on aton cases sa Eastern Samar. Coming from government employees. Kay itong government employees daw, as he said, amot diri na amot damot na labag protocols diri nan mamaskara, which I think I don't find it din here at City Hall kay nasunod aton mga employees. I don't know in other towns.
That was also my rebuttal ha nagsend ako from Manila. I told them that what is happening to the province is not applicable to the city of Borongan kasi ibahe po talaga itaton nganhi compared to mga towns. And kung may daman po it ma-apply, province ito, our capital po has a major problem with their employees. I would say that on a personal level and a professional level based on what I know and what I am seeing. Syempre, most of their employees are coming from other towns and they are not subjected, unlike to our city hall, they're not subjected to yung mandatory antigen testing. So containment of their of COVID-19 in their offices will never be had unless they subject themselves to testing. Case in point po, our latest case in the ILG, we have not yet found the source kung hino. The only thing na amon po kinakaptan is most of them do not reside in Borongan. Most of them pabalikan pa Tacloban or other cities outside of Eastern Samar. So hands off na po, it is outside of my jurisdiction na po. But I already aired my sentiments to them that, and with the approval po of, I think Mayor approved that, and Ma'am Gemma of the ILG was also, we had the same views na we offer the services of the city for antigen testing haira kasi we are still affected po if nga dahil po it kanan province, and we are willing po just after this MECQ po, I will focus naman po on testing again on other offices and other areas.
Okay. Thank you. Asala ako kay paru-pareho kita nabaga kuan na natatapunan kita at ibang lugar with that statement ni Governor. Nagsiring ko pa, as I see it, city government employees follow my protocols.
Yes.
Follow my protocols. So it might not be applicable to us here. Tama rin sir, might not be applicable to us here. Siguro kay ibang mga municipalities. Okay, thank you, Doc.
Nice, may recognize.
Kailangan kita pa na Honorable Anacta, Honorable Chu, and then Honorable Suyot. Kita lang natin ibang chance. Sige. Honorable Anacta. Honorable Katrina Anacta. Okay na. Sige,
Wait,
Honorable.
Dok Kelly, kasi kinita ko ini nga imo presentation very graphic. Very kung habaga it data nga tanan aada. Why don't we post this iton aton Borongan City information page, just like what DOH is doing, di ba? May da nira mga sugad hini nga mga statistics, mga data para maaram talaga tao ma-visualize nila kung gaano na talaga kadamo iton aton cases, iton mga nagkakamamatay, kung gaano kadamo. Suggestion lang.
Yes po. Actually, as I said po kanina, na it is highly encouraged din po on our part nga mag-share po hini nga aton data to everyone. We will just parang paplansyahan po anay naman before we start with that, so that we can regularly post this. Kasi if you can see po, PHO has already stopped declaring po ang aton mga probable ngayon suspect because they are already overwhelmed. So kumbaga aabat-abatan ko po anay if we can really sustain. But yes, we will do that po, Doktora. We are in talks na po amongst ourselves kung hino po itmatoka because kulang po kami nga dihin manpower. And our data manager, while she is doing excellent with her work, she can only do so much kasi this is not the only thing po that she is doing. Updating cases po, isa po pagpapositive, it takes time po to create our data, to create the file. Pero yes po, we will do that po. And since February pa po naman ini nga plan, it's just materializing.
It doesn't necessarily na everyday, just like itong pwede siguro weekly or para makita lang nila itong exact number. Tira lang nga puro chismis, tira binabati. And also, Honorable Presiding Officer, suggestion ko liwat na next time siguro invite ta iton aton mga doctors in charge with our vaccination campaign kasi para mahibaro naman kita iton exact number iton aton mga vaccinated na nga mga mulupyo dinhi Borongan kasi harayo pa talaga kita maka-achieve iton aton herd immunity. So ay hidukeli naman la permit nag-in-update natin itong positive cases ito na itata naman vaccination para may data naman data. Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer.
It's a good suggestion, Honorable Sadac. Invite na lang natin next session. Please take note, Mr. Secretary. Anyway, nga din naman kita ka na Honorable Chu. You have the floor.
Thank you,
GLAIZA.
Mr. Presiding Officer. Doc Kelly, mapakianala. Ongoing pa ba natin mass testing?
Tapos na po, Dra. The mass testing was with Dr. Daisy. And sadly, the turnout po of swabables, pwede man. Those who submitted themselves for testing, very disastrous po. Kung di rin pa po ako ang nagdarahin mga ipapatest, and those people na pinatest po were people that these offices identified nga symptomatic, no one will come. So, Sonco, Balod, San Saturnino, paray po. So,
kay anak pala, may daw akong suggestion, Doc. Like didi ha Greenland. Siguro kay din po kanina kami kay Arago na kami duduhaan namon na nag-positive. Siguro kung nagbabay area, bangin may data matest nga iba. Kay labi na sugarit Sonco nga gihalo-agi. So wala talaga makadto ha barangay hall para
yes
test. So bangin lamang
and now
testing otro
having home isolation kung kinakaya house with option hindi ko po mahataas man ba turnout.
As yun. Okay, actually may naman area dito Sonco parang damuan magsakit pero asat nga nakahadlok pagpaswab. So pero iba nag-home nag-home isolate na talaga here.
Problem pa
Apply to
naman
Mr. President.
regarding po ng mga symptomatics na doing self-quarantine without reporting to us, while it is good, it is only half good. Kasi they don't know when to reintegrate. Some of them would experience the typical symptoms of fever, cough, colds, and loss of some smell or sense. They will isolate themselves and they feel better lang or they fully recover. But days po kasi with the last 3 days as you reintegrate on day. Otherwise, you will be
there is a massive uptick or source of cases in the province of Visayas, especially in the municipalities and in the barangays. Darahiton nga dire pagsunod hiton health protocols. So guaranteed sa nga face mask, sa face mask, danay man pagkakaon mo binubutan mo bisan diin. Yes, pagkikita nakabut sakto nga. Pero pag-uuli unina asala nga by heart observance of the basic health protocols. So, tapos iton nga data that is based on official data from the DOH nga data at mga contact tracers throughout the province. Para lang maklaruhan itong publiko. Basic health protocols. Tapos
So thank you. So any more questions, clarifications from? Okay. Okay. Ada pa? Right na. Sige. So again, Doc, after clarification lang ako, nangangalimutan. Piprovide ata na samples na pending or ipaka-run?
Fresh samples pending po, we have fresh samples pending. Baraway lang po, di ko naman. We have 41 fresh pending samples and we have imamas ko lang po, guys.
Sige lang po.
We have 29 pending samples from since June 19 pa po. But considering po the duration, irrelevant na po ang result.
Saan na?
Opo. Spoiled na po ito. Of that 29, 12 po ang report haamon as not run because lacking daw po yung documents. 12. Tapos, bali 17 na lang po. However po, on these 12 samples na they rejected due to lack of documents, I was very skeptical because po, mawaray naman like ni PhilHealth. Kasi those were, kumbaga nasa alta sosyedad nga amon mga patients nga na-deflect, nga na-defer and running. However, one answer was given to me from the higher office was that during that time, nahibang po ang machine han EVRCTC and super damo po talaga ang submit na samples that there is one paper po kasi that we send per ice box. This one paper po, without that, hindi po mararan despite nga aton igriba nga papers. They are very strict po kasi. So, nagdaramo po itong mga papel, they could have lost that single paper po. That's why di rin na po talaga mararan. So, in lieu of testing, we just had the patient complete his 14 days facility or at his home. Our problem is na lang, the monitoring po. Kasi even if my staff po will call these patients on a daily basis to check on their health status, we cannot finish that po. Kasi at amon po tracing work, if we will do that, if ma-select po kami ng ibang work, like following up hining ang mga patients, which is not our job anymore, but the BHERTS, it amon tracing work po, ma-drop down to 10% na like amon time. Kasi I cannot even imagine how 10 people can call 1,000 people to follow up on a single given day. And we can only do so much at number of hours po kasi. And syempre po, bubutlawon naman takon mga tao. So most of the time po, we leave them hanging na lang or follow up as much as we can or before on the day of advice sa Kaira nga you should be under quarantine, we already give them the date of release and the type of monitoring that they will do, the self-monitoring na ma-report nila po haamon. Apparently po, of the over 800 nga amon yung pan-quarantine for the past few weeks, only 1 or 2 ang nag-report nagka-symptoms. So hopefully that is true. The rest, di na po kami maaram kung nagka-symptoms ba ito. So we cannot stop the transmission kasi po waray po na monitor hining ang mga patients. We cannot have them isolated naman po in our facilities because we cannot house 1,000 people naman po to be monitored. So yun na lang po. We appeal na lang to the honesty of the public. Safety over convenience aside with amon moto nga diha office. Set aside convenience for the good of all pa din po.
Okay, so thank you. So thank you very much, Doc. I know mafuri yan natin ba lago ganyan surgeon infections din hamugan tapahiro wala kami wala nim. Mo iti yung trabaho dida nga inahatag kanila Borongan. So thank you very much.
Salamat.
Para naman pakiana. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. Ano ito may recommend niya na ma-extend kita?
What a difference po it nangyayari actually. I think MECQ is only detrimental to our economy. What would be best po is on my part lang po, but I still have to discuss with the other health officers. Pero majority of the data naman po, adi man po haakon. Curfew na lang po, stricter curfew kasi the age group po han mga unpa-positive was nga dapat ito nga maglaag na age group. And during the MECQ, when we stopped the gatherings po outside, damo pan limitations, lalo na curfew po, from 80 to 90% nga aton positivity will be very much effective man po.
Okay, mas effective pa no kaysa na lockdown. Good. Yeah, that's good. Okay, sige. So again, thank you very much, Doc, and we commend it yung trabaho dida. Very good and very detailed and your report klaro man good. Hopefully at mga mulupyo yung nakamakita hini report sana disiplina na tira kalugaringan ng tira mga kapitbahay nga pait-pait na ba kay di rin masusulbar ngin kikirita lang din LGU at magbinoroblek kinahanglan problek nga tanan. So again, Doc, thank you very much. Wala naman pakianhan iba. Excuse ka na namon kay damo pa siguro yung trabaho nila. So thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you naman po. Stay safe everyone, stay negative. Thank you.
Hindi rin natin negative. Okay, so next item, Mr. Secretary.
Next is termination of cemetery development contract care of
Okay, so Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, would like to ask Attorney Solidon regarding the status of the previous contract with Mr. Alzate on the development
Yes.
of our Memorial Park.
Yes, good noon to everyone. Actually, based on hininga project na contract, nagpadara na kita hin notice of termination ngadto kan Mr. Alzate way back or parang last month pa. So tinagantahin time nga mag show cause or mag-explain kung kay ano nga diri iti-terminate ang contract between the city and their company. So until now wala man hirap pag submit in a protest or reply ditohan atin notice of termination. So basic position city terminated na ito with atin contract with Mr. Alzate.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I have a follow-up question. Attorney, regarding aside from the fact that they did not reply to our demand for specific performance or kung ano man, what is the legal basis? What is our legal basis of saying parang their contract is
already terminated.
Already terminated. Other
Ah,
legal basis. Kasi
and-
the last time we
ah.
talked with Mr. Alzate, he pointed out that your reason daw, the reason that you gave him hand pag-terminate was parang he did not expect it because your basis was another law and he was referring again to another law.
Yes. I will have to explain that. Kay ang based kasi didahan dire kasi specific didahan contract and agreement between the city and Mr. Alzate and termination clause. So ang ginamitan legal on my part and office and termination by convenience pursuant to Republic Act 9184. Paraham applicable maini nga clause or law kay this is an agreement between the gobyerno, so applicable and Republic Act 9184. And basically may the right hand city nga i-terminate ang contract kay as far as I'm concerned wala pa man ada in pagtikang wala pa i-implement ini nga project asya kunta ng position and office.
So if we just say nga we are terminating the agreement because wala na hirap pag-reply ha aton. I think kasi parang what our city mayor is asking from the Sangguniang is kind of an ordinance or a resolution supporting the development.
Resolution.
Can we ask for a parang a written report from your office regarding our basis, the timeline of the events, ano yung pag-follow up, asking for the demand for the specific performance, our legal basis for saying that the fact nga wala reply is already a ground for us to terminate. Kumbaga just something that the Sangguniang can hold on to, that we have clearly studied our position regarding this contract, which was I think not executed pagad, di ba?
Yes. This contract has yet to be executed and waray pa mahin implementation actually. May dala agreement na pinirmahan pero an implementation wala pa talagang pag-start. So we can do that, Mr. Chair. We can submit a report or basis for the termination of the contract.
That's all, Madam Presiding Officer.
Yes, that's a good point. Kay dili man lang kami basta-basta pwede maghimo and resolution, mamupay gyapit may ada kinakaptan nga facts, di ba? May basis kumbaga. So
yes, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Arago, you are raising your hand. Unmute. Naka-mute, Mano Melcho. Honorable Arago, naka-mute. Honorable Arago. Naka-mute po, Mano. Ayan.
Attorney, I just want to clarify na I think in the contract there's a provision and magpo-provide and road right of way and city government.
Yes.
That might be one of the reasons nga waray hirap makakapag-start implementation ng contract kay waray pa man road right of way to. So it could be pwede ibalik niya ang reasoning akong lapag kita nga if there was a road right of way already at the time pag-start ang kontrata, they might say nga ready kunta hira mag-start ang construction pero kayo waray pa manira aragian and it was stated in the contract nga and provide ng road right of way was the city government.
Yes, that's
so,
why
bangin kuan ba pag kaya na siguro kung mo na iton pwede hira siya I don't know ano to niyo kuan ito ni angle. Kay really,
That's why we're waiting sana
consider
an era reply.
Reasoning. Maaari di may
Yes.
say something about it. Kung nagkamay-ada at the very start, pag pirma ng contract, may dana road right to be o kaya a month or so nga pagpirma ng contract, nagkamay-ada ng road right to be, they were ready at the time in pagtrabaho na. Amula,
thank you.
pagkita.
Actually,
And ito si Pat nga, ito si Pat na yan na pala punta sa gwarta, yan na pala ka kaso ang road right of way. I don't know, it is now 100% or nearing 100% na.
Tapos na po natin road right of way at mismo natin memorial.
That might be another one kasi when the pag siya ay hayrahan surat nga kuanan again rescind ang contract, I think the road right of way was not yet created. In fact, we could have been supplied and yung surat uray himbaruan naman suratan legal through Mr. Kuandaman, Mr. Alsati. I don't know if there was a communication or a copy furnished nga daahan na Sangguniang Panlungsod adto nga surat.
Waray po. Actually, that's why we're waiting for the reply of Mr. Alsati kung ano kung taniya magiging reply ditohan notice. Kung possible ba ni explaining ditohan and kung kaya nung i-terminate ang contract. Kaya pag kaya na wala pa man niya nag-reply. So we need to terminate.
Also for the information that you years ago na, di ba? First term ko to pag konsehal na groundbreaking pangani kami hadto. Manaton yan na ginhimo nga road right of way. Parang dirit hiya asya ang proposed nga aragian una. Parang nakalipat may kanda pumida kuan. So parang may ada natin hadtuhan una road right of way ada kay kinalawan mga net na mga dito inspection at although malagay la at sang litura kami tingad to property hanatan property. Dere kung tasugad yan maadto na sementado. So siguro kung road right of way may upod adto adahan ka ng develop. Tapos sira ng bahala parang sugad natin. So pagdatang road right of way siguro dire kada nera may himo nga basis. Ano no, kay kamoment abogado.
Actually,
pwede ka to magpakena kung nagkamaya na ba niyo personal contact, nagkaya ka na ba na iyo na kaya ka nito ni Mr. Alsati? Kay when he appeared in the Sangguniang session in San Mateo, ready man hiya whatever negotiation, ready daw hiya. Na kay natigdaan kuno hiyahan ito na surat na without being called upon anay antes siya pagsuratan natigdaan daw hiya siguro if we can suggest kung okay la hayo personally bangin mas upay kayak na anay niyo kayak na niyo more particular itong legal kung ano gritong i-stand para mawaray itong kuan ba medyo magkakamay dahing gap.
We will take note on that, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So any more questions? Atin City Legal before we excuse. Alright na. Sige, so Attorney Ed Solidon, Atin City Legal Officer. Thank you very much. Imo time, imo in-share ha mga knowledge. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Mr.
Next is Kilos Online Social Case Management of Mary Pierre.
Okay, Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable to give kilos online project kay we received this agenda before hinikunta nga kindly
Okay po. So good noon po to everyone. I am May Claire. So sa ako nga City Link, inihan po actually ito lang. And since po ang program is already enacted and turned into 4-piece law last 2019, the program is talaga working on talaga developing naton mga pantawid household na kuan po hirahiton poverty maka-overcome. So the to further support ini nga aton kuan case management hira siya po ini nga namon tinatawag nga social case management strategy ang kilos unlad. So this is guiding or the process of guiding the pantawid pamilya beneficiaries na maka-achieverahan level of well-being from one level to another, and then eventually within the 7-year program implementation hangera is maka-get out tirahan poverty, or kung mahimo less than hito na 7-year program kundi hirabulighan pantawid pamilya Pilipino program or purpose. So ang purpose po aton MOU is to establish or strengthen talagang partnership and DSWD and the city government of Borongan na masuportahan ini nga project iton DSWD. So
in short, ma'am, this is 4-piece la gihap similar to 4-piece.
Yes,
and,
yes po, ma'am.
Ano po it obligations po hit city government to that atin MOU? Parang may ba financial obligation at LGU, or parang kung lang niya establishing the relationship of the SWD and the city of Borongan, no financial obligation involved?
Sa section 3 po ng MOU, ma'am, ay section 3 yung nakastate po yung mga responsibilities of both parties. So wala rin man po specifically nga financial involvement na ginaaro, but ang aton lang po is to establish and strengthen hiton ang aton sinisiring City Advisory Council or ang aton CAC nga ma-ensure ang execution and kilos unlad implementation ng Pantawid Pamilya Pilipino Program. So kung makakuan po itong yung kukuan actually naman is convergence po iton with other stakeholders nga pag-support gihakan aton mga pantawid pamilya beneficiaries kay according han 4-piece law tinatagan na lahira kasi in 7 years na membership. And then within 7 years dapat ma-improve tanira level of well-being with the help iton other than DSWD and city government and other stakeholders like DOH and DepEd. So yun po. So kung may po nakakundi din allocate or mobilize resources to support the program and activities implemented in the city. So I believe may copy man po kuan aton sanggunian na po MOU nga SIA nga regarding po healing. So
just to follow up, Honorable Presiding Officer, last question. Because of the Kilos Unlad program nga nasa rin ka mo, nga they only have 7 years now to improve their situation. What will happen to our 4-piece members who will be parang judged as some constituents nga waray kung pag-improve? What will happen to the support that is currently given to them?
Before pa man hira mag-step itong era 7th year, actually we are conducting itong era periodical assessment naman. So kung base among social welfare indicators, nag-improve na era well-being, and pwede na hira mag-exit sa program, even waray pa mag 7 years, pwede natin hira i-recommend for exit. But if after 7 years itong operational period itong program nga member hira, tapos makikita natin based on era assessment na diri pera kaangayan mag-exit or mag-graduate sa program, actually itong may dapo kita itong mga intensified na case management na mo na hira. Tapos mabulikan lagi itong and for piece gihap kasi labot lahan pag level up han beneficiaries ang era pwede naman hira mag-exit through natural attrition. So para na po gihap bata kasi ang household which is itong eligibility itong household ang lan may eligible na bata 0 to 18 years old para i-fully program. So actually may nakita mga graduating yan na nga tungod kay waray nanira bata. So ito, diri tira naman pwede natin basta-basta buliwan nala kasi most of masisirin na nag-level 3 or nag-improve na actually nila well-being or sinisiring naman na self-sufficient na. So actually, absolute kita the convergence and the health ito city and other departments.
That's good. The other members? Alright na? Before we excuse it atin resource person, palinaw naman siguro ada pag taga 4 gihapon ini nga aton na MOA. Alright na? Sige. So, ma'am, thank you very much sa imo time. At least yan na naklaruhan na kami kaya waray talaga ito na mo na idea kung ano ito.
Thank you gihapon po Han.
Very much.
Gayon sir.
Sige po. Sige po. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Real property taxation issue, care of city assessor and city treasurer.
Aden. Aton na taga city.
Sige. Okay la. Go. Fire.
Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, we call on our city assessor and treasurer to shed light on the real property tax collections and situation of Borongan City.
Tabinas.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Your Honors. Present lang po ang status itong City Assessor's Office regarding itong real property tax or RPUs, mga tax declarations. Din our records, ito total land area itong Borongan is 50.781 hectares. Itong land area itong per assessor's record, we have 14.11 hectares. Itong timberland or forest land na composing 36.69 hectares. Ini nga
Honorable Presiding Officer.
14.1
yes, go ahead.
Kaya may interrupt our speaker. Sir po, pwede can we can I request that you play the format kay dakuan hiya because there are some notes that ilaran po yung itiyo sheet nga dire po kinikita.
Okay. Sige. Ang kadako. Siguro zoom out matalaki. Di kinikita diyan nila ro. Yan.
It's too small, Honorable Presiding Officer. Parang, and maybe on the graph lang area.
Ito lang ang drawing.
Drawing na lang po para para easier to understand.
Drawing like drawing.
Ito
Okay
si,
po.
pala, Excel pala hiya, diriya ko
Okay na po.
Sige, sige. Continue.
Based po atong presentation, itong top left, amo ito po, total land area per DNA records. Itong blue, it is our land area per city assessor's record na 14.111.34 hectares. Ito na orange is timberland or forest land. So the total hiton is the total land area of Borongan City. Ito na blue na land area is 28%. Ito among record, city assessor is 28%. The total land area is Borongan. Tapos ikalan mo na hit kaduha, itong middle nga drawing. Itong blue, ang tax map area. Ibig sabihin, itong nga 10.428 hectares, amo ito naan cadastrated or surveyed ang DENR. Ang 3.6 tawag na muna outside cadastral survey, amo ito ang mga barangays nga waray ka survey ang DENR. Isa na dito ang sinisirang mga panalugon barangays. So, kadita naman itong dato nga picture, ang tax map area, ang pinakadato nga porsyento nga nakukuha as ang per records namon agricultural nga 99,786 99,786 425 square meter. It residential area is 3,487,402 square meter. Itong exempted nga mga land 901,597 square meter. Itong commercial is 93,522 square meter. Itong special na compose na 8,106 square meter. Industrial 6,570 square meter. Hindi naman kita hit bottom left. May danang proposed city assessor's office nga kay 28% man la itong tax map or city assessor's record subrahin pa taguti. Mag-propose kami nga magkamay-ada naman la 50% the total land area at Borongan na makadastrated. So, kung para maging 50%, kinanglan pa naman 22% or 11,279.26 or 11 hectares pa.
para maging 50% magamit para maging A and D. Hindi naman outside cadastral nga 3,592. May daan magpag-convert nga pinaagi dito sa DNR ang era siguro mga tax date tinagan ng stewardship amo in 2% la han 3,000. Dili po hitamon summary of real property assessment. Total collectible as of June 30, 2021. Basic tax collection plus SEF.
Honorable Presiding Officer, may I interrupt our resource speaker. Kasi before sir, uwi kita kumatuhit how much nga real properties kunta real property tax at aton pa collectible. I have a question kasi what you're showing us is actually very helpful at decision making tait aton kanan real property taxes. So hit imo total land area ta 28% din hit aton kumbaga nagagamit it aton pwede ma-own nga mga lands, tama ba?
Owned na po ito. Owned na po ito.
Pero out of the 28%, ingat 26%, wala pa hiya sa survey. So di ba katahit pwede mag-request nga i-survey hiya at DANR?
No.
Tama ba tak understanding?
Correct. Opo.
Kasi itim kita kinakita din nga 74% tax mapped area hiya. So ini nga 26%, kanya 28% wala pa yun hiya kata tax map outside of cadastral. When you say outside cadastral, what does that mean?
Ito po ang mga land area nga wala po ito kasurveyhan DENR, wala po niya.
So kung wala hiya ka survey, how do we parang paano tahiya may hibong ma-survey nira para magkamit na naman tax mapping ito ni area?
Iyan na po ini nagkamay-ada hini nga mga outside cadastral based on hand declaration ang una, tax mapping la ang una, ang mga previous administration ko nga na-submit sila through ang era mga affidavit, may mga previous tax deck, ang mga sinauna pa, amo ang nagiging basis na hihimuan hirahin tax declaration. Pero without proper survey. Urog labi ang mga area nga waray ikaabot han survey team han DENR. Pero may mga tax deck hadtong mga panahon 1940s. Nakadira opisina nagrepresent hirahan era tax deck, then asya ito nga nai-issuehan ang hira o nare-revise namon, so nagkakamay-ada na in-record nga sinisira nga tax, outside tax map area nga mga tax deck.
So iton Sir Puwek, since asya, kasi I think this is the area nga concerned naman ni Attorney Suyot, nga siguro wala nila pa kapagbayad pa because wala nila eksakto nga kuan, tama ba? Kasi takot kinagalawan parang we should not parang stop just because wala hiya ka sa survey ng DENR. Can we request DENR to survey this para maging upodiyat at ang tax map area? Or are there other problems?
Ito po nga, yung mga outside, consider na po ito ang iba, A and D. Pero no.
When you say A and D, what do you mean?
Alienable disposable. Pero
Okay.
waray po hira kasurvehan DENR. Mga A&D na tira. So, ang ira na i-represent para magkamayda nila tax deck, ang area, ang sinisira nga estimate la kung tira ang produkto, then ma-estimate la ang area kung 1 hectare, 2,000, so guys.
So can you will be able to identify ini nga remaining agricultural land of Borongan nga inisyuhan tahin tax declaration pero wala pa nila survey. Kasi para if we can encourage them to get a survey. So are these people paying taxes?
May naman course, treasurer's office, dati ito ng mga outside restaurant. I have here a copy. Kaya lang,
So your report,
medyo-
hindi po nga your report nga 28%. These are actually people nga may na tax declaration pero nan mamayad naman hira kasi paka-intended imo pala graph parang an 26% parang diri tax marked area so wala pa guna pagbabayad. So I am wrong with that interpretation?
i-andi na po ito niya. Kaya lang, outside karasan kasi waray nga po sorbihan di.
Sorbi.
Ang amo naman yung propose po, Your Honor, para naman lang maging 50% magamit ang bukos ng Borongan, kinalam pa na makonvert na ito na 11 hectares o 22%. Ito po, kinanglan na po ito, land conversion. Dito na po Congress. Opo.
Sige, ID Atty. Suyot, Honorable Suyot, you're raising hand.
Thank you, Vice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mopay adlawoy. Sir Tabinas, salamat. Salamat ani mo pagkani. Itakon la kung tangani kareyag lang ani din ni makita. Itaton la total taxable area din nga Borongan. Tapos pera itaton ika total taxable area. Pera iton expected natin nga an estimate natin nga aton collectibles. Tapos dahil ito nga total taxable area, pipirala iton an aton anan babayad per year. So karata la bisan natulo ka duha ka tuig 2019 to 2020.
Opo.
Naton nga data di ha assessor.
Opo. Ito na current collectibles, waray pa itong po, Your Honor, penalties and surcharges is 13 million.
Yes, tama.
13 million,
Okay.
352
Okay.
pesos. So, collectible po ito niya. Itong total na tax declaration or RTUs na taxable is 34,637 kabubos.
Okay.
Kasi kinukumposo po yung 34,000 kung makukulikta may 13 million 352.
Okay, natin naman actual collection. Natin naman collection.
Opo. Collectible and prior years. May ada po nila mga percentage po inataga sa barangay. Example lang,
estimate
barangay.
no kuan. Kamilyon. Wara. So gadidihan natin ang atin supposed to be from natin mga real property taxes is 13,313,000. So natin naman yan actual ang para porsyento naman.
Opo, Your Honor, ang treasurer kasi po ang hirapit na ibabaro
okay.
po. Iran na collect.
Sige,
Sige,
percentage sala. Percentage.
Po, ang Iran na collect is 28.44% out of ng mga barangay.
Okay.
28.44%.
Okay. So, Sir Tabinas, makuha ko, kung 28% la, kung 10 million nga aton expected natin dapat ka real property revenue, ang nakuha la 2.8 million or ada sugaran tala kami pa man 3 may pa niya 3 million and 352, ada sugaran tala hin mga 3.4 million ang aton actual collection and real property.
This po ini po in record na po treasurer's office po.
Yes. Okay. So out of that, may tapadida collectible. So karon la estimate la naman 9 to 10 million. Itatong pa loss of revenue kasi due to non-payment of real property taxes. Tama ba ako, sir? Based on datos sa mo kinakaptan?
Yes po, opo.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Sige.
O kasi importante yun para makita natin kung hain pirapay kadakit at recoup based lahat on direct nga taxable real properties din sa Borongan. So dako ito. Para makabulig ito, para makapag-decide kami, kamay na namin na proposed ordinance granting relief or untaxed amnesty ang mga delinquent real property owners para lahan an interest, surcharges and penalty. Pero ang principal liability dire iton bulig. Para pag-encourage sa magbayad dira. Pag-encourage magbayad dira para maigo natin in nga target nga 13 million. Di sa bisa nga 10 million tat maigo gidadako ina iton.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Sir Poik. Thank you very much sa giupay ko iton nga imo ginhatag hapon nga dato sa amon. Kasi gidadako iton nga bulig dakanak na hibaruan. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tabinas, araw na lang kami hinihin na copy kung pwede para matamdan ng.
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Bisa na let mausa, padulong na lang opisina.
20%.
Pagka-copy
Yes,
for na lang inihera.
20%.
Yes po, Your Honor.
Para at least mas maklaruhan. Sige. Sige. Tapos na po, kamuhatan yung report. Ano po
Yun po ang status po ito City Assessor's Office with regards to RPUs. Ito ang office po.
So, ginada mo pa talaga ito na agricultural land nga dapat convert na Sige, any more questions from the other members? Clarifications, Maida?
Okay na.
Mr. Chair.
Arago,
yes,
continue.
Kariyagura ay clear pag-declare na pani Pilipinas nga nanginginangan ng additional E&D areas to be surveyed, to be taken into 72%. So na maginhala pa dito for conversion, meaning to say masurvey ka areas.
Opo.
Do you have any knowledge kung may hunain in nga mga areas o you need the advice or you need also the recommendation of the DNR additional proposed
tapos diri nga ang pwede maging E&D. So
yeah, okay. Claro. So it will only mean na you have, before we can proceed with a resolution or whatever ordinance requesting him propose survey for additional E&D areas, you should have an agreement or recommendation from your office together with DNR Borongan kung ma-identify nila itong mga areas and then submit it to the Sangguniang Panlungsod so that we can have the resolution. We can have a request and a form of resolution.
Coordinate po kami.
So, thank you, Arago, Mr. Okay, ito nga suggestions, comments before we excuse our
no problem po. Thank you po, Mr.
Mr.
Under business, post ordinance, an ordinance granting tax amnesty to the delinquent landowners.
Honorable Presiding Officer,
Malaki na.
since we will be needing data regarding this matter, I move that we refer the matter to the sponsor, Honorable Suyot, to hold committee meetings on the matter and provide data regarding, di ba maaro papukutahan ko regarding the collections and collectibles.
Yes, Madam Chair. Mr. Presiding Officer,
continue, Honorable
thank you. First, before we refer the matter to the committee on my committee, I would like to first to approve on first reading the proposed ordinance granting relief and or amnesty to real property owners from payment of interest, penalty, charges for non-payment of real property taxes. I so move, Mr. Presiding Officer, if the motion is in order.
So the motion is approved.
Thank you.
Sige.
Thank you. In regards to the request of ours for official data record from the concerned offices regarding how much is the collectible from the city assessor's office, it seems that we have unaccounted 72% of real property taxes that is due to the city government. That's a big amount. That is almost 10 million. 10 million, Mr. President, of total taxable real properties in the city of Borongan. Ito niya. So itatin hindi din para may ganyan na magbayad. Kasi kung di at buligan ang interest ng penalties. So kung mainganyar nato nira, so igo nato until billion. Kasi wadi naman hay right on mabunda. Sige, magkakandak akuhin committee meeting. I will invite all members of all Sangguniang Panlungsod members, including the representative from the Treasurer's Office and the Assessor's Office, and of course from the legal, so that we can immediately act with dispatch this proposed ordinance by the Sangguniang Panlungsod of the City of Borongan.
Okay. Sige. So refer to the committee of Honorable Suyot. Okay, so
we have proposed resolutions. First, a resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Department of Social Welfare and Development for the Kilos Unlad Social Case Management.
Floor leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, after our resource speaker, Ms. May Creer, regarding the intention of the Kilos Unlad Case Management and hearing that we have no financial obligation and that this will be beneficial to the city, I move that we pass and approve this resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter into a memorandum with the DSWD for the Kilos Unlad Social Case Management.
Seconded.
Any objection? None. So the proposed resolution is now approved. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter into a memorandum agreement with the Action for Economic Reforms for the Technical Support Partnership and Data Sharing Agreement.
Madam Floor.
Honorable Presiding Officer, again, from our resource speakers from ColabDev, it's actually a privilege of Borongan City to be chosen as one of the pilot areas wherein this project will be implemented, and this will be beneficial to us. I move that we pass and approve a resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Action for Economic Reforms by Senior and Chief of Party for the ColabDev for the Technical Support Partnership and Data Sharing Agreement.
Second the motion.
Seconded.
None. So the proposed resolution is now approved. Okay, next item, Mr. Secretary.
A resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Regional Director, Department of Health, Regional Office Number 8, Nandahog, Palolete, for the upgrading of Rural Health Unit outpatient delivery room in the amount of 2 million pesos.
Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this resolution as it is already beneficial to the city. However, we have no official documents discussing the details of the 2 million pesos, if it will be the city of Borongan who will be spending this money. We have no certificate of availability of fund, or if Borongan will be the beneficiary of the 2 million pesos grant. I therefore move that we refer this matter to the Committee on Health, chaired by Honorable Katrina Anacta Sadac, for further discussions on the matter.
So refer to the Committee on Health. Next item, Sir Secretary.
A resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter a memorandum of understanding with the National Nutrition Council, represented by Asosina MD Ang Hirang, herein referred to as in C, with office address to Roses Avenue Extension, Taguig, regarding the technical and logistical support to the city of Borongan for the dietary supplementation program.
Honorable Presiding Officer, again, I have not received any a sample of the memorandum of understanding as to the responsibilities of the city or any of the party. I therefore move that we refer this matter to the Committee on Health for further discussions on the matter.
Second. Any objection? None. So refer to the Committee on Health. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
On other matters, we have a later request of Dr. John Adrian Biang, City Veterinarian, for the formulation or passage of an ordinance for the prevention control of African swine fever.
Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, actually, I have no copy of the letter request from Dr. John Ang, but since this is again a concern regarding our agriculture or poultry in the city, I move that we refer the matter to the Committee on Agriculture, chaired by Honorable Suyot, to discuss further discussions regarding the letter request.
Seconded.
Any objections? So refer to the Committee on Agriculture. Next item, Mr.
Announcement.
Mr. Presiding Officer.
Any announcements?
Just an inquiry.
Yes, continue. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. May I ask for our Secretariat if the Veterinarian submitted a draft or proposed ordinance on combating ESF in the city?
No. The ordinance submitted in office. Only a request.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sige, kukontak na lang ating City Veterinary kung may dala niya draft ordinance para masubmit at. Okay. So, any more
okay,
announcement?
Noted.
Arago?
So, for the body, I request that the chief of the management section be invited by next session to shed light on the problem of parking areas along the National Highway from the Domingo Road up to Loom Bridge.
Okay. Please take note, Mr. Secretary. We have invite Ma'am Grace Mingote. So in our announcements, requests before we adjourn.
Adjournment.
Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I
Madam
move for the
Leader.
adjournment of our 91st regular session.
Any second?
Second.
Objection? And so our upay nga aga nga hawat nga na kinay kita.
With the truth that truly sets us free, with the love